What the fuck was that Australian Grand Prix, huh? What was that? Like, it was a display on how incompetent the FIA can get. And let's face it, we have had so many examples of those things. Yeah, like we have had Abu Dhabi, we've had Belgian Grand Prix 2021, we've had all these things. This is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life of watching the sport. And I've seen some pretty shitty things. Yeah, how they went from doing what they did in those last few laps and what happened in the grand scheme of things in terms of who finished in the top 10 and who didn't. It was a complete embarrassment. The main issue that I had with the whole race was basically how everything is unfolded in the name of entertainment and not anything that pertained to any sort of actual racing rules. It didn't make any sense. First of all, like everyone's out here saying, oh, but the red flag couldn't have been avoided, this, that, and the other. Why is the FIA so allergic to finishing races behind a safety car? That has been the norm for so many years. But recently, because of all these people coming into the sport, it's as if everybody wants a photo finish, a grandstand finish. It's like everybody wants entertainment. So, wow, let's have racing laps. It's been the case since Abu Dhabi. And the funniest thing is, what happened at the end wasn't even a racing lap. It was the final freaking lap of the race. And it was a rolling start that happened because the FIA messed up the initial red flag. Yeah, that wasn't a red flag. Magnussen taking his tire out was just not a red flag. And for those of you who are saying, oh, but there was so much debris on the track, I have personally seen worse incidents not been red flagged. Yeah, the fact that they red flagged that entire thing instead of having a safety car finish, it just shows the level of incompetence and what's going on behind there. It wasn't even Michael Massey behind. It was so much of doofuses who decided, oh, but let's red flag this as much as possible. For contest, let me just land, yeah, on this whole thing because this is something that I have to get off my chest. I've been watching the sport for years. I remember entire seasons going through where the entire season had two red flags. We had the whole thing in one race. Everything is about entertainment, drama, action, fun for the fans. When did sport become fun and exciting and all about how everything was supposed to just pan out, right? When did sport become a case of, oh, but this has to be entertaining for the fans? It's a sport. Treat it like a sport. Treat it in terms of fair merit, fair everything. Like, don't make it about, oh, but we need more viewers and eyeballs on the product, so let's just make a grandstand finish at the end of the race. That doesn't make any sense. Let's go to the people who are actually fucked over by the FI today. Yeah, starting first and foremost, Carlos Sainz. I feel really, really bad for him. That was not a penalty in my opinion. That was a turn one racing incident. And even if you are to consider the fact that, okay, even if you are to consider that Carlos Sainz did something that warranted a penalty, the inconsistency across the ruling doesn't make any sense. Logan Sargent, yeah, that idiot, the guy behind who had one job and one car to overtake throughout the entire sequence, proceeded to ram that exact same car and he didn't get a penalty for it. And listen, I understand that the FIA has the entire month to give him a penalty and all of that. How did Sainz get a penalty in such immediate effect and Logan Sargent is still languishing there without a penalty for it? Now I understand that Logan Sargent doesn't deserve a penalty because, oh, he's at the back, it doesn't matter anyway. The doesn't matter anyway excuse doesn't work because what Sainz did had no effect on the race. Alonso just came back to P3 like nothing mattered, and Lance Stroll got fourth, and this guy was sent from fourth to 12th or something for something he. I mean, I admit that fine, okay, maybe it was a bad move, yeah, but it didn't do anything to the race. For those people who are saying, oh, but Carlos Sainz is the one who caused the entire collision. Did Carlos Sainz cause the Alpine collision? No. Did Carlos Sainz cause a Logan Sargent collision? No. He was just the one who struck first, right? And it's so unfair on a man that who after the penalty had no opportunity to redeem himself. What happened after the penalty was not even racing in my opinion. Actually, it's not even my opinion, it's a fact. He had no chance to, let's say, build a gap of 5 seconds or just serve the penalty in a proper way. My man went from 4 to 12 because the whole field was bunched up. When was the last time you saw something like this? And see, I admit that it's harsh in a way that, okay, fine, maybe Science did deserve the penalty, right? But the time penalty system in itself is such a joke. He should have had a different kind of penalty, maybe, or the whole rules need some looking over because his heartbreak on the radio, I felt really, really bad looking at that. And realistically, the fact that Alonso got away scot free and nothing significant happened because of science tagging him is just the icing on an already shit cake, right? It's embarrassing for the whole sport in general. And not least, let me land on the whole thing of how the FIA reinstated the order and the two Alpines who took themselves out in a lap that was essentially undone. and not even given consideration for it is nothing short of a joke, in my opinion. And the whole thing of how oh, but the race lap was run, so okay, fine, and the Alpines deserve to get taken out. I hear that fully, right? But why was that racing lap run in the first place? Ask yourself as to how these idiots didn't red flag. Instead of, they should have not red flagged the race, they should have just continued in the safety car. And again, I'm asking the $1 million question: why is it that these guys cannot finish a race under a safety car? Why are they so allergic to following the bare minimum of rules? You saw how much fuss was created last year in the Italian Grand Prix when Verstappen wanted the safety car. That's how it's supposed to be. It's just, how can you do that to the sport in the name of, oh, but we require a grandstand finish, we require like a lap of racing because the fans deserve it. The fans don't deserve any of that shit. Who, like, I know fans who are like watching the Australian Grand Prix at multiple times of the day, that no person should have to wake up for to watch a race because they're that passionate about the sport. The sport is supposed to be just that. It's based on merit. It's supposed to be on meritocracy. It's supposed to be on that you earn your place on the track, right? Not have it handed to you through some sort of bullshit FIA ruling, and certainly not because they can't follow the rules properly. Sport is not supposed to be entertaining. I'm sorry, that's the harsh truth. It is not supposed to be entertaining. It's supposed to be a competition at the end of the day, right? How this happens on a regular basis with F1 these days is embarrassing. It's to the point where like it's considered new for these newer fans to sort of enjoy it and let them know that, oh, but it isn't as boring as you think. It's not just Max winning every race or just something like that happening. It is like that. It's always been like that. And if you don't want to watch the sport because of it, don't watch it. It's a complete farce. And the reason I'm saying this and why many other fans are saying this, even though we are aware that okay, maybe science did deserve the pen, maybe the Alpine thing was self-orchestrated by Gasly and Ocon, there is no consistency. That's all we're asking for. We're asking for a little bit of consistency. We're asking for the FIA to do their job normally, and instead of thinking about the entertainment factor and thinking about how we can just best ensure that the drivers can race. No, you heard it yourself. As soon as the red flag was announced, all drivers were like, what? And they were hurling expletives and stuff. Yeah, because they know it's not right. What happened today is just a shit show of the FIA's own doing, and nobody is to blame bar some drivers and the FIA themselves for letting a race run on cold tires, restart because they wanted an epic end to the race. No, prioritize the rules. Yes, they are boring. Yes, nobody likes rules. Yes, we all don't like things when they're just going on. Yes, we want spicy stuff, masala stuff, drama, entertainment, all of these things. We need that. As sports fans, I love it when it happens. But it should happen naturally. It should not happen because you wanted it to happen. That for the Australian Grand Prix, in my opinion, if I had to sum it up, an absolute disgrace of race. I think it just was a black mark on the sport today, and everything that happened could have been avoided. Everything that happened, whoever got shafted, all of those things, I feel like it could have been handled much better. But that is the way of life, I guess, and I hope that all we can do is learn from these mistakes and hope that the governing authorities have what it takes to sort of ensure smooth and hassle-free races in the future. So I'm keeping my hopes because I'm an optimistic fan. I'm keeping my hopes on the FIA. You just heard my very passionate rant about the Australian Grand Prix, and I will see you soon. Meanwhile, let me go and celebrate my Lewis Hamilton P2. So yeah, I'll see you soon.